Pax Dei is a social sandbox MMO that released this week, and if you're wondering what a social sandbox means or what this game even is, then you wouldn't be alone. I was first made aware of this game's existence in the PC gaming show during the 2023 Summer Games Fest, and the ideas thrown around by the dev team were ambitious, but everything that was shown, in my opinion, was very underwhelming. So underwhelming, I just completely forgotten that it existed until about a month ago, when I was doing research for my Summer Games Fest recap video. Pax Dei got into the hands of players in an alpha test last week. Reception seems to be good, but a lot of sentiment is that it's not really ready for early access yet. This is certainly a wait and see, I think. I was more than ready to forget that this game had existed again until I came across the pre-order incentives, or Founders Packs, so they called them. Now, the last time I bought a Founders Pack for a game was Wayfinder, and we all know how that turned out. But Pax Dei was a little more unique because the Founders Pack perks are a little less tangible, I guess. So this game is launched in early access, and a Founders Pack will grant you access to the game, as it should. But when the game releases into 1.0, you will be required to pay a subscription to keep playing the game. Now, the game is upfront about this, and it is said multiple times across the store page, but it is information worth repeating here for anyone who is interested in this game. Early access will go for at least a year, and even though there are no final plans for how the pricing is going to work, the subscription model at launch seems like it is pretty set in stone. The thing that catches my eye the most is that the subscription fee is going to be based on the number of land plots that you want to maintain. And this is where we're kind of brought back to the Founders Packs again. Like, there are 3 Founders Packs. The first one costs $65 Australian. I think it's about 50 or 40 US, and gives access to 2 character slots and 1 plot of land. The last one gives 6 character slots and access to 4 plots of land. So if you buy the highest cost Founders Pack today, then expect to also be paying more when the game goes into 1.0. It is worth noting that when I jump into this review, that the game is in early access and things are subject to change. I'm here to tell you if the game is worth buying now, and in the event that it isn't, when I believe it could be. So let's get into Pax Dei. To answer the question you're probably still asking yourself, what is Pax Dei? Well, it's technically a social sandbox MMO. Well, that's what it advertises itself as. Although I think calling this world a sandbox is a little generous for now. The best way to describe Pax Dei is it's Minecraft, RuneScape, and Ark Survival Evolved rolled into one game to make something not as good as any of them. The idea behind Pax Dei is that it is a community-driven MMO with no real quest structure. The game's buildings, economy, and just how everything works will just be run by the players somehow. Now, the massively multiplayer part makes the game a little more interesting because having so many players share a persistent world with one another over a long period of time is what's going to make this game work or not work. We'll get back to that. To set expectations, the first few hours of this game will be spent doing just the usual survival crafting stuff. Pick up stones and wood off the ground, make a hatchet, make a pickaxe, etc. The game gives you enough guidance to get you to the point where you claim your plot of land and then just says, alright, that's it, go have fun. And gives you no guidance from there. When I got to this point, I then proceeded to, not really have fun. Not out of spite or anything, that's just what happened. This is a difficult game to talk about because it is technically exactly what it says it is. The main part where this game goes wrong is that it's just not fun. For the first couple of hours I spent finding a place to set up camp and going through just the survival game motion. Build a workbench, make the things so you can make other things, you know the drill. We've all played Minecraft or Power World or any survival crafting game. The only quirk Pax Dei has going for it is that there is a chance to fail your crafting. This is based on your skill level in whatever proficiency of the task you're doing. Think like RuneScape levels, but instead of RuneScape levels unlocking a thing that you can craft, it instead unlocks a better chance for you to craft said thing. The intent behind this is to kind of encourage group play. Person A will go and do all the blacksmithing and weapons crafting, while person B does the carpentry, and person C does the cooking and potion making. The game is structured so no one person can just do everything by themselves. I don't really have a problem with it being this way. It makes sense to me that if you're going to build a community-based MMO, that this is how you would structure it. You can't really be a jack of all trades without some heavy grinding. But the problem is that makes sense for the mid to late game. Problem is that it starts at the start. The early game requires a ton of grinding already just to get basic things going. At the 4-hour mark of me playing this game, the only armor I'd crafted for myself was a headband. Now, I have all the materials to make the rest of the gear I need to keep myself out, but I would almost certainly fail the proficiency checks and waste the resources I have grinded out. Which is, what happens when you fail a craft. You lose some of your resources that you put into it. Now, I understand that I am meant to be playing this with other people, like a party of 4 or so I should be making 4 headbands so I can get my levels up so I can make the next 4 things without wasting anything and leveling myself up. But I just don't see the reason for the grind being this heavy already for the first tier of armor I can make. Because to get something better than the cloth rags I started the game in requires just so much fucking about, and that's the same for all of the other 10 or so skills in this game. To get off the ground floor for anything already requires a bit of a grind. Like I said, I understand the idea behind that being the economy of the game. A player-driven economy isn't new, like RuneScape, Arcade, WoW, New World, to varying levels of success, but so if there is enough content in the game that one person can't really do it all themselves, then it encourages group play. I get that. But my problem with this system is that it feels like I've only just started to scratch the surface of the game, and I haven't even crafted most tier 1 craftables because the game is just throwing up huge brick walls everywhere. I'd like to go and explore a little bit around it, but I also don't want to get one hit KO'd by a bear. So I'm just gonna have to craft a bunch of useless things so I can make my first lot of armor or my first lot of weapons or my first lot of anything, which requires a lot of grinding. And I got to the point where I unlocked a blacksmithing table, and I was like, okay, this took a little bit to make, and there was a lot of resources involved in getting this. So there's probably some good stuff in here, and to my surprise, there were 3 actual items I could craft and about 8 different new crafting tables that would just lead out to other skills, which would also just take a bunch of resources to make. Maybe if I crafted these 3 items, they'd unlock recipes for other things, but I saw the 8 crafting tables before I saw the actual items I could make, and I just fucking lost my shit. I was so defeated. And look, that brings me to my next problem, and that there is just so much stuff in this game, and that's not really the problem, but inventory and storage space is. The amount of space that your first chest that you can build holds is so unbelievably pitiful, it's kind of almost hilarious. To make matters worse, stack sizes in your inventory are just so small, so inventory spaces get taken up extremely quickly, and that's not even the worst of it. Raw materials like wood or iron can be made into 5 separate things. With wood, it can be made into a short stock, a long stock, planks, pegs, and beams. So inventory slots start to get taken up even quicker when you need to process your raw wood into all these different little craftable things, and building some things like wooden pillars or foundations will require multiples of these things, so you will need to have all of these in your inventory. Now, having an overabundance of all this crap wouldn't be that much of a problem if I just didn't need to spend half of the materials I was farming to make more chests so I can hold all of it. I would probably be able to tolerate all of this shit if crafting benches did that thing that all good survival games do now, and be able to just have crafting tables automatically use loot from nearby chests without me having to collect it manually from the chest and put it in my inventory so I can process it. Oh, sorry, my bad, this isn't actually a survival game, it's a social sandbox MMO. So let's talk about the sandbox then, what can you do? Well, you can look at it and it looks kind of nice. You can collect resources, and that's just about as fun as it is in any other game. You can kill animals and other NPCs, but the combat, it just lacks any kind of depth to it. You can also build stuff, but only on your own small plot of land, and gathering resources for building is also just another huge time sink that leads us back into the crafting system. Why do I have to craft 2 animal hides together to tan them, and then why can they only be tanned in batches of 10? What the fuck is up with that? And it gives me 10 back from tanning, so what is this arbitrary barrier here? There are some things that I don't mind taking a while. I wouldn't mind that building a house takes a while, but the way that it currently is, it's just another big grind on top of all of the other big grind. And that is most of the game. It's just grind. Why? I'm not expecting to be able to do everything from the get-go, or even be able to do everything a week or 2 from now. I understand that this is an MMO. It is meant to last for a while. But I was hoping that there was something more to do earlier on. The biggest thing that this game has going for it is the potential of the prolonged and shared space. I decided to climb this hill to get an overlook of the general spawn area about an hour after the game went live, and then I decided to come back again 12 hours later to see what it looked like. Someone had built half a house on my cinematic viewpoint, so I had to move a bit, but you get the picture. It's almost like the start of a civilization. I can see how over time that it could evolve into a completely player-made town, and knowing how much effort it takes just to get this kind of thing started, I'm intrigued to see how it develops further, or if it develops further. I think that if you and a group of friends are playing this together, then you're probably having a bit of a better time than me. I know that this game isn't meant to be played completely solo, but like the only interactions I've had with other people I've come across were just saying hello, and it's either me asking where materials are or they're asking me where materials are. Everyone else I've come across is just content doing their own thing, and we're still early in the game, and how players approach each other will probably change over time, but my biggest concern is that we won't get to that point. I want to see how this valley evolves over time. I want to see what community forms around this game, but for me, there is just nothing gameplay-wise keeping me playing. It was kind of at this point where I had just given up really playing the game, and I just decided to just go and explore the map. And I stopped caring if I really died or anything. I didn't really care if I came back to my camp. I just decided to follow the road and see where it would take me. And what happened was that I found myself actually enjoying Pax Dei for the first time, and like just going around and looking at cool stuff, where people have built, how far that they've gotten. This guy's house, this is probably the furthest along I've seen a built house, and even they said it took so many time. I mean it when I said that this part of the game and the community aspect of it is the shining light to Pax Dei, because I reckon if I come back here a few days or even a week from now, like these places are just going to look unrecognizable. But the thing is, I just can't bring myself to keep engaging with the grindy gameplay. And so I think I'm just kind of cursed to be an onlooker, just someone who might jump on every few days or weeks, and maybe I'll just put on a podcast and just travel the world of Pax Dei and look at all the towns, because that's what I like about the game, but it's just, I just don't like anything else. I really don't like anything else about this game. So to answer the question from before, what is Pax Dei? And I believe it is a good idea built completely on placeholder foundation. Yes, the game is early access, but this is probably one of the most extreme examples of early access I've seen in a while. This game feels like it's charging money for a promise. And even if this game eventually lives up to that promise, I do not think that it is worth what it is asking for. So unfortunately, I cannot recommend this game in its current state. It feels like this game is doing the bare minimum, and anything it is currently doing has been done better everywhere else. The one thing that this game has going for it that is at all interesting hinges completely on how much other people are willing to put up with its mediocrity. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, and if you are new, please consider subscribing. If you have played Pax Dei, then let me know what you thought of the game, especially if you played it with friends. I don't feel like it was a good idea to convince any of my friends to spend $65 just to see if the grind was a little better. Anyway, thank you so much to my YouTube members, Controlled Killer, Dr. Hoovian2, and Yellow. If you feel like my content is worth supporting financially, the option is there as a YouTube member. And while I can't offer too much at the moment, you do get a little badge next to your name in the comments, and you'll get your name in the credits of each video as a personal thank you. So thanks, YouTube members. I also have a community Discord server which is free to enter, where you can suggest videos, chat with me and anyone else in the community. I also have a Steam curator page if you are interested in diving into some more of my video game takes that will probably not make it into a full video. Links to everything in the description of the video, and thanks again for watching. I will see you all next time.